Hello Wolfpack, you know I've got to cover OMG, OMG USD. I've got the USD pair and the Bitcoin pair up. I'm going to be delving into OMG, asking the question whether right now is a good time to buy OMG. And the reason why I'm kind of bringing up OMG, it's kind of a bit of a coin that I haven't really looked at before in either of my my Telegram group, my Twitter. I've never really looked at this coin before, on my groups, but I have been keeping a close eye on it. And the reason for that being, and I think a lot of people would already know this, the reason for that being is that OMG has actually managed to hold its ground, right? So if you look at most altcoins right now, in light of the recent Bitcoin correction, which I'm sure you guys are very well aware of. I don't need to go over any charts around that, but OMG has just kind of stagnated in this region, actually gone up a significant amount. So, when we started this dip, OMG dipped down briefly, but it actually went up over 50% during the time of this correction, which is great to see. And, not many coins did that. In fact, OMG was probably one of the only coins that did that. One of maybe a couple coins. It's the only one I can think of for certain. And I remember checking CoinMarketCap during this dip and seeing that OMG was the only coin up at multiple days, multiple points in time. So, it's interesting. And you should definitely be keeping an eye out for coins like this, because coins that prove to you that they can hold steady during a correction are coins that you want to be holding. But obviously that doesn't mean you should just buy it blindly. You need to be waiting for a good entry point. Another good coin that tends to hold its ground quite well during corrections is Hedera Hashgraph, so that's HBAR. Make sure to check that out as well. I've done a video on HBAR before, but OMG is the one that's kind of hot right now. You can see on Lunar Crush, it's number 3 on Lunar Crush, so it's getting a lot of attention here. Just below Safe Moon, above Safe Moon. I don't know how that coin's still on here, I'm going to be honest with you, but anyway, let's get into OMG on the charts. So just before we get into charts, actually, we'll get into tokenomics. So before you start worrying about market cap, I talk about market cap a lot because it's very important. OMG is fully in circulation, 100% of the supply is in circulation, and it is locked. That is the max supply that's ever going to exist. So all of the OMG that is ever going to exist in the market is out in circulation right now. Now, that's good. That's really good, right? Because that means you don't have to worry about any inflation of the coin. You don't have to worry about new coins coming into the market, bringing down the price like you do with other coins like Dent, for example, and coins like the Graph. So OMG is great in that aspect. That's awesome. But, that still doesn't mean we should just buy in brainlessly, right? Fundamentals aside, I'm not going to be looking into the fundamentals. I can't say I'm particularly pictured on them. I know the basics, but I'm not going to be looking into the fundamentals. I'm just going to be looking into TA because, I do think it has a great use case. I'll say that. I do think it has a good use case, but, it's nothing that, is mind-blowing in my opinion. That's just my opinion, though. I'm a TA guy. I'm not a fundamental guy. Anyway, we'll look into the TA here. We can see on the daily chart, OMG has done something similar to most altcoins. And, one of the reasons I like OMG, right? One of the reasons I like OMG is because I've actually traded this coin multiple times in the past because it seems to consistently hold this green box, right? Ever since August last year, so for over a year, it's been mostly over this green box, aside from just like a brief week period in which we saw a little fake out during 2020 and a few little blips below, but for the most part, we've held this box quite tightly, and if you wanted to, you could actually just extend it down a little bit to cover this area, but that would make it a little bit too overextended in my opinion. But this is a fundamental support zone. We have massive spikes on the volume profile, showing that, we've got a lot of support there, a lot of buying coming through there. So obviously that's the ideal place to pick up OMG, but, that's also, if we just measure quickly, 67% away. So I'm going to be honest with you guys, we're not going to be going back there for a while, if ever, right? For a while, if ever. I don't think we're going to be entering that region for a while, if ever, unless we see a bear market right now without Bitcoin running up to 100k. Well, then yeah, we might. But at that point, I'd be considering just buying Bitcoin only and not holding any altcoins in preparation for a bear market. So it's unachievable, right? So just get that out of your minds. But it is good to know. It is good to know that your coin's not just going to fall to zero because it has a strong, well-tested support that's been tested for over a year, right? So that's great. And that's between around $3.75 and around $2.75. So that's just for reference there. We have a higher support zone here, this black line, this first black line, at around $5.66. Now, this is an interesting one, right? Because realistically, we could see this again, right? I don't think we're going to see it now. I think that it is a little bit over pessimistic to say we're going to correct 50%, especially heading into October and November and December. But, keep your eye on it. Keep your eye on it, potentially set some bids there. I don't think we're going to see it personally, but it could happen. I can see a scenario when it could happen. OMG is overextended, guys. I just want to say it's overextended. It's been in an upwards channel for a long time, right? Some sort of upwards channel. It had some breakouts. In fact, it's actually kind of a broadening upwards channel, which, is especially bearish, to be honest. But I want to be looking into that in a second. And I think that, we've got this support here at $9.84. I don't think that's going to hold. I think that a lot of people are thinking that OMG is going to do something similar. If we bring up the chart here, just one moment. I think that a lot of people are thinking OMG is going to be doing something very similar to what it did back here in 2017, where it had this dip down, this kind of cup formation, and it just skyrocketed up to the sky. This is an interesting argument, right? It could do that. But generally, and what we have been seeing across the entire market is cup and handles formation, right? With OMG, we have the cup, right? And we're yet to see the handle, all right? And for those of you who don't know what cup and handle formations are, it essentially means that after the cup, after the nice rounding bottom, we see a correction in a channel formation, and then we break out to the upside, okay? So that's a bullish formation as well. It just means we might see a slight correction before they're happening. I think that in the current state of where OMG is, it's at $11.50. I think that there's better coins you can buy with higher potential returns, right? Because if OMG, all right, goes back to its all-time high, all right, that's 32 USD. So that's about a 3x, right? It's about a 3x to its all-time high from the current prices. But, I think the thing is to consider, guys, is that all of the altcoins, 99% of altcoins have corrected significantly, 20-25% in this dip in Bitcoin. Why would you buy those? Why would you not buy those over OMG right now, which has continued to go up? Do you seriously think that OMG is just going to continue this upwards channel forever to new all-time highs? Do you think it's just going to continue this upwards channel and then break out to the upside? No, it doesn't look right from a TA perspective, right? Unless some massive news of adoption of OMG comes out, that's not going to happen, right? It's going to correct. It has to correct. It hasn't corrected yet. You could say that it's had a brief consolidation period. That's not enough for me. I don't like that kind of stuff, right? So what I would be looking for on OMG, and this is not to say that you shouldn't buy OMG, I'm just saying you should be waiting for a good entry, right? So what am I looking at from OMG right now is I'm waiting for that cup formation. All right, we have that cup, and what I'm actually waiting for, and I think we'll probably see it here, right? We can see we have this resistance line at $11.88. We've rejected from it already in this daily candle, right? So this resistance line, this black line at $11.88, we've rejected from it already in this daily candle. We rejected in the last two daily candles as well. I think what we're going to be seeing is an enter of a downwards channel formation from this region, and that's possibly going to take us. And we can look in the history of OMG to see a new support zone. That's going to take us, in my opinion, back between $7.40 and between $8.50. All right, so this green box here, and I'm actually going to make that orange, okay? That orange box there is what I'm going to be waiting for OMG. And if you want it to be even more conservative, right? Because this is, I'd say this is pretty likely to happen, okay? And I'll give you some more reasons why as well, but if you want it to be even more conservative, what you could actually do is say that, wait for it to bounce around a little bit, wait for it to bounce around, possibly find some bottom in that support region. We have that support region there. It might even go as low as $5.50. I doubt it. I don't think it's going to be going below the bottom of the support box here. $7.50, that sounds reasonable to me. $7.50 is a correction of around 35%. I think that's perfectly natural considering we haven't corrected at all. In fact, we've just gone up, right? Do you think that a 35% correction is unreasonable after a rise of 300% in a matter of 2 months? I don't think so at all. Right? So 35% correction down to $7.50, possibly even down to $8.60, right? To the top of the support box, depending. And then what you could actually do is you could wait for a breakout of the supposed channel, wait for that to break to the upside to confirm an upwards movement, and then start heading up. So I think we'll start heading up again on OXT late October, possibly early November, right? So I think we're going to see a bit of a corrective period in the next few weeks, next couple of weeks, because keep in mind, guys, that people are, buying this coin right now because they're seeing it as a hedge against Bitcoin. This coin is performing well when Bitcoin is dying, right? Well, it's not dying, but when it's correcting. So they're buying it up as Bitcoin is bearish, but once Bitcoin flips bullish again, naturally they're going to start buying other coins that are much lower, right? They've gotten their use out of OMG for now, and then they're going to start getting interested again at this support region after a bit of a correction, because people aren't stupid, right? And, definitely not the people who control the market, the institutions, the whales. They're not stupid either. They're not going to buy into coins that are in upwards channels like this, right? That's ridiculous. It's been an upwards channel for 2 months. You have to have some some, responsibility with your trades here and realize that channel's not going to last forever and it's probably not going to break to the upside, right? That's not financial advice, it's my opinion. And one of the reasons why I think it's not going to break to the upside, and what you could say, and this is a perfectly reasonable argument, right? You could say, well, it looks like it's going to break to the upside because it's had this bullish MACD cross, right? First of all, that MACD cross isn't confirmed. Okay, I will say that. It's not confirmed. Second of all, what we're actually seeing on the MACD is some sort of bearish divergence here. And what we're actually seeing on the RSI, which is even more important in my opinion, is a clear bearish divergence, right? In which the RSI is trending downwards and the price is going up, right? And we've seen that extensively on most coins, before the correction on Bitcoin. They had clear RSI divergences and it led to this correction. And I think that's what's going to lead to this correction on OMG. It's a kind of a sign that OMG is running out of steam, right? It's running out of steam. It's running out of that momentum that it had. People have already bought this coin. People are starting to sell. Yes, the price is still going up. That's due to the hype. It is on Lunar Crush, as I said. But I think that the TA is bearish. Yes, the sentiment might be bullish, but usually the best time to sell is when the sentiment is bullish, and the best time to buy is when the sentiment is bearish. So what I think is going to happen is OMG is going to be rejecting from this resistance zone here. It might go a little bit higher, right? It might go to this little area of resistance we have here, right, at around $12.50. Might do, all right? But right now we're seeing some sort of triple top, right? So it's very likely that we're going to be rejecting from resistance area. We'll come down, bounce around a little bit, in that orange box somewhere, and then by that time, everyone would have flipped bearish on OMG, and the people with the smart money will have flipped bullish. They will pick it up in this support zone, noticing that it is a pretty strong support zone, and then OMG will have its run towards the end of the year and into January as well. So I still think it's bullish, right? I still think it's bullish on a longer term scale, as with the whole market. I just think right now, in this current moment, there are better things to buy, right? If you really, really like OMG, you need to do what you need to do. But I personally, as a trader, wouldn't buy it right now. We can see, on the weekly chart here, on the weekly chart for OXT, that kind of supports the reasoning and, the evidence we have for a short-term correction. We have here on OXT RSI resistance levels that have been quite prominent in the past here. So we had a stop at around 75 here when we had this top out in 2018 January. We had a zone here that doesn't really matter, that's around 93. We had a stop here at around 74 in February, saw a correction from that region. In April we had a 75, saw a correction from that region, and in May we had a correction from 69, and we saw a correction there. Right now, we're entering 68, so we're just entering that region right now where we typically reject from the RSI, and what typically leads to corrections. Each of these corrections were worth different amounts, so we can see this correction here in February, corrected around 50%. And the correction from a similar region to where we're at now in May, obviously this is because of Bitcoin, so it's kind of unjustified, 80%. But, what I think will be happening, as I said, we'll see a 35% correction, right? And the reason why I don't think it's going to be too much, you could say that we actually would be expecting more extensive corrections, but the reason why I don't think it's going to be too much, I think 35% is a reasonable amount, because Bitcoin is going to be showing strength, right? The entire market's going to be showing strength, showing signs of recovery, showing signs of new all-time highs on Bitcoin, on altcoins. So, I don't think the correction is going to be as extensive as it was in the past when the market was looking slightly more bearish. So, yeah, I think this orange box is in the charts for sure. Something we have to look out for as well on OMG is the fact that we have this upwards trend line, this long-term support zone, but that is very, very far away. So just keep that in mind if we see something abnormal, and possibly during the crash that sends us into a bear market, which I'm expecting in the next year, right, 2022 Q1, we will be possibly bouncing off that region for support at some point. Possibly that might be the bottom, right? Who knows though, because we didn't actually find that trend line as the bottom in 2018 after the crash. We actually dropped well below assuming this goes into assuming, you know, this bull market goes into, you know, January next year and OMG tops out in January, we might actually be going below this region for the bear market. So keep that in mind that OMG could be trading, you know, at around $3 or $4 during the 3-year bear market. That's just something to keep in mind for the long term. Obviously, if you're an altcoin season and bull market investor, you don't need to worry about that right now. Where do I think OMG is going to go? All right, well, that's an interesting one, right? Because we have data from the previous years, and what we actually can do is we can see we had a very similar cup formation. We don't have all of the data available on Binance here, but what we actually can do is get a fractal from this cup formation that we saw, very similar, and apply this to the current price action. And we can see that, you know, it's pretty similar. We don't obviously have the evidence from what happened before here. But what we can see is that it will probably be reaching all-time highs for sure, right? So $28, I see no reason why we can't reach all-time highs. And then obviously once we get past that point, we'll be entering price discovery. As for price discovery prediction, what we can actually do is take our Bitcoin all-time high at 64K. Around that time, we reached an all-time high of $15 or $16 on OMG. Bitcoin will probably double to around 120K, you know, roughly in that region somewhere. Towards the end of the bull market. That's a pretty moderate price prediction. And if Bitcoin doubles, OMG will possibly triple, right? Just taking general altcoins and how they perform against Bitcoin. They possibly go around 50% higher than Bitcoin in terms of returns. So if we just apply that formula and add 200% to this price, I actually can't see because of this thing's in the way, one moment. So if we apply 200% to 16, what we can see is that OMG will possibly reaching around $47. So basically around $50, right? Basically around 50 USD is what I think is a pretty moderate price prediction for OMG. I can definitely see that happening. So around 47 USD, but, you know, round up to 50. And, you know, that's, you know, some would say it's a little bit conservative. I like being conservative, right? I like being conservative. I like having my targets reached rather than holding, you know, risking a drop and risking holding a bag during a 3-year bear market. Because what you need to keep in mind, guys, is, you know, when that crash comes, when that altcoin season crash comes, you're not going to have time to sell, right? If you wait until the crash, if you don't take profits on the way, exchange is going to be down. You know, how many people do you think are going to be sending their money to exchanges, sending their coins to exchanges, trying to sell? Every exchange is going to be down for hours, right? And that you're just going to have to sit there and watch a 30% drop on all of your coins, and you're not going to be able to do anything about it, right? That's why it's probably best to get out of the market early. Be a little bit conservative. You know, you could even be more conservative than this, right? You can even say, all right, when it reaches all-time highs, I'm going to take out half of my investment, and then I'm going to ride the wave with the rest of it and go to 50 USD, right? I wouldn't be opposed to that at all, right? What we can see on Bitcoin pair, the Bitcoin pair is interesting. Bitcoin pairs are always interesting because they're never really going to reach their all-time highs, right? Unless OMG goes to, you know, top 10, it's not really going to reach its all-time high on the Bitcoin pair. I'm not saying that can't happen. I'm just saying it's probably very unlikely, right? So, you know, I don't think any of this stuff over here is achievable at all. I think we can probably cross that stuff out. That's unachievable. What I will be saying on the Bitcoin pair is that we have some clear targets. Right now, we're testing a resistance zone at around 2,700 sats. We're testing that right now. We rejected from that area in November and in May, and currently we, you know, might be breaking through. Who knows what happens if we see that cup and handle formation on the daily chart. We'll probably be rejecting this short term, but going up above it when the altcoin season kicks off. We're seeing some sort of double bottom here, and so we can gradually expect that OMG will follow a pattern in which we kind of match the top of what we reached here in July or August 2020. So my ultimate target for OMG on the Bitcoin pair will probably be around 8,300 sats. We have a resistance zone here that we need to keep an eye on at around 5,500 sats as well. So anywhere between 5,500 sats and 8,300 sats would be expected. Anything above that is kind of exceptional and very good stuff to see for OMG. Alright guys, so I hope you've enjoyed the OMG prediction. Essentially, to sum it up, I think short-term downwards price action, long-term upwards price action. Waiting for a better entry on OMG. I think there's better coins to buy right now. If you're very, very determined to buy the coin, I'd recommend waiting for a better entry. That's my personal opinion. You know, who knows? The market does what the market does, but I think that's the most likely scenario. Alright guys, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.